The Title VII was designed to protect those in a protective class, including African Americans and those who have a disability, race, creed, sexual orientation. It was designed to make the playing field of the working equal. Those who have been discriminated against, harassed, sexual harassment, it was able to report it to the EEOC, and the EEOC enforced Title VII. With that being said, over the years, Title VII has included more just that. It has included disability and other elements of that, harassment, retaliation. Because after all, everybody knows, anybody that knows that once you file an EEOC complaint, retaliation begins. So that's why Title VII covers all of that, and the EEOC enforces that. What people really don't know is that how the investigation works, because people think that once they file an investigation, that EEOC looks at certain things and certain criteria. EEOC has what they call commissioner rules, and it tells you what type of charges that they accept. They talks about retaliation. They talks about the role of the investigator, what the investigation of evidence that the investigator has in making his determination over the EEOC. So what I'm about to tell you in the next 30-minute videos is it clearly states how EEOC, especially in the Nashville office, has evolved to working with the employer to cover up Title VII and how they work on your charge. Okay, so I'm gonna start with mine. As I became older, I'm over 40, and I do have a disability. And as a result of that, as you know, I've had it for a long time. I've had this disability for a long time. Well, unfortunately, it's taken a toll on my body. And my doctors have put me on various medication. I'm a type 2 diabetic. And it's putting me on various medications for me to be able to get my A1C down, which is the diabetes is becoming one of the most common illness or diagnosed in the United States. Okay, all right. So, other than that, I had no problems. So, my first job, I got a job with this company called True Blue. I told them what was going on. I made them aware of that I was a diabetic, and anybody that's a diabetic, you have to go to follow-up doctor treatments. It's not like it's once a year, it's 3 times a year. So with that being said, I have to go to the doctor. You got to also include that, you know, being a diabetic, they take you to make sure that your eyes are okay. You got to make sure that, you know, if you're over 40 or over 50, you have to have a cancer screening. You go through the 9 yards. So that's part of not just being a diabetic, but part of being old and preventive care, getting older. So I got this job with People Scout and True Blue, and I worked, and I told them about that, and I started noticing things that, you know, like for instance, I was having problems. You know, they talk I notice when you get older now, they talk to you like you can't hear or you don't understand and stuff. Now, keep in mind now, most of us has been in the workforce business, you know, the environment for like, you know, real young. Unfortunately, like some of these people that come in, we've been in the real workforce development for like forever. So they come in and they act like they training you. They got to train you slow, like you don't get it and all of that. So that's one of the things that I have to, me personally, I have to deal with. I've heard it from other employees, especially my age. So anyway, so, you know, I'm having problems with, you know, with my equipment, my company on equipment. And to make a long story short, when I tried to go get it fixed, and the IT department told me something else, and I told my manager I couldn't let her keep trying to fidget my screen because I worked from home, I got rolled up. And when I got rolled up, I reported it, and they removed it off my personnel file, which led to now retaliation. I started things that I was telling the company in confidential came out in meetings. Uh, uh, it was some of the stuff was attached with vulgar statements and comments, more like sexual harassment. And people think that sexual harassment only goes with men and women. No, it don't. It goes with women. Women can make vulgar comments, inappropriate comments, just like a man. So I filed a complaint with EEOC. I told the human resource, I said, look, it appears that what I'm telling you, you're telling them, and it's supposed to be investigating, and now it's becoming, a hostile work environment for me. So me being over, like I said, I raised my 2 children. I'm not the type that, I'm gonna, I gotta keep this job. I'm gonna do, no, if I feel like that this job is more stressful, my A1C was already high, I'm not going to risk my life. I could go look for another job. Yeah, everybody said, well, the economy is bad and all of that. Yeah, I get it. But I only got one me, and I'm not going to kill myself to go get a job that as soon as I die, they're going to post up a thing saying, hey, we hiring, somebody else is hiring, and take the flowers from whatever and put it on there. I'm not like that. So I'm at peace with what I decide to do. So after that, I guess, EEOC waited until I filed in February. EEOC, because they're being bombarded, they said that their complaints have raised to 300%. So that lets you know it's toppled. So during that time, now all of a sudden my performances became an issue. Now all of a sudden things became an issue about my performance versus when I first got hired there. I was praised for my performance. I'd overachieved my goals and everything, but now I'm barely making it. They keep saying it's me and the not the computer, all of that. So one day when I did my we had these group meetings where we talk about what we're gonna do and all of that. And I said, okay, so I got off the computer, I getting ready to log on to the recruitment thing, and I couldn't get on. So I'm calling I told my manager I'm calling the IT person to find out what's going on. And as I'm calling the IT, she's deleting me from other software. I'm seeing it, I'm noticing it. So make a long story short, I got fired without being fired. Okay, because now they don't have to really fire you. They just lock you out of the system, and then that's how you know. So for 7 months, True Blue said that I had, I was still employed and everything and all of this, but we went back and forth. I knew because I was able to get unemployment, so I knew I was fired. And the state of Tennessee proved that I was fired at no fault of my own. Okay, so filing the complaint, and I tell them, I say, they tried to, cover their tracks. They tried to put me on disability. They tried to put me on family leave. I wasn't eligible for family leave because I hadn't been there a year. They trying all this stuff to put me on. Now, this is where it gets where the EEOC says. They calling me, and I'm telling them, hey, look, I can't talk to you right now. I'm at the doctor's office. I can't talk to y'all right now. I got to go for a stress test. EEOC says that, why did you tell them that you had to go to the doctor? I said, well, because I was going for a stress test. Well, did you put in for a leave? I said, no, I didn't put in for a leave. I was already fired when I was going to the doctor. They was trying to get me to go on leave. I said, but I wasn't working there anymore. I said, I said, they never called me back. Now, come on, they locked me out of the system. Why would they call and ask me if I was a no call, no show? I said, they didn't even call for that. I said, they sent me a COBRA letter. They basically fired me. The EEOC said, well, then you call and ask for your job back? I got fired. I got fired in a way that, I got fired. They say you still work there. Well, okay, well, I submitted a COBRA letter. I submitted every documentation to show that I was no longer working there. I got a proof of unemployment. I'm showing them. I don't get it. I don't get it. I said, before all of this happened, I said I didn't have a problem with my quota, my performance, and everything. I said, but then afterwards, I said I'm having a problem. Well, maybe you did this, and no. So the investigator, months later, he wouldn't call me back, wouldn't answer the phone. So anyway, he called me and said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss your case. He said, because I've been on it for a couple of hours and they offer you your job back. You should have begged them. You should have took your job back. You should have called them and told them you needed your job. Wow. I didn't know I needed to do this. This is EEOC in Nashville. EEOC in Atlanta took it and did the intake, but it was EEOC in Nashville that told me that. And he dismissed my case. So I called the supervisor. The supervisor told me that, hey, he said, you know what? He said, the federal law changed the laws now. They don't have to give you your job back. They don't have to give you nothing. You act like you entitled to something. Wow, I thought that's what Title VII told me, that I was entitled to in protection. Got smart with me when I said, well, what case it is? Well, why you want to know? Because the first thing I'm going to do, are you calling me a liar? No, sir, I'm not calling you a liar. First thing I'm going to do when I get off the phone, I'm going to do the legal research. I'm going to read that case from front to back, and I'm writing down what you saying so that it goes together. Goes together. Hung up in my face. So what I did was I typed up a letter, but it was in a lawsuit form. And what I did was I submitted to the commissioner. Her name is Charlotte A. Burrows. She's the commissioner of EEOC. And what she did later on, while I was in court, I took that right to sue letter and I filed it. And while I was in there, while I was doing that, EEOC reopened my case and told me, hey, they assigned their supervisor on there and tried to get True Blue and People Scout to mediate and close the case because they had dropped the ball. They even amended the complaint to drop the ball. Fast forward to last year. Okay. No, I want to go back a little bit. While I didn't accept the job, they steady kept telling EEOC, which is a federal offense, is lying to an investigator, that I still had a job. I said, okay, well, I still got a job. I want to go back. Oh, well, now you can't go back. Why? You got to resubmit your documents. Why? Because Homeland Security says that because of COVID, everybody in the world, in the country now, have to resubmit their documentation to show that they are authorized to work in the United States in order for us to continue to hire you. Okay. So I called Homeland Security. I got in touch with big people. I said, well, hey, tell me, is this true? No, we ain't never heard of that. You know how much, they said, you know how much chaotic it would be if we had to do all over that? That would overload our system. So went back, True Blue, and I went back to EEOC. EEOC know what's going on. I said, hey, these people telling me about a new procedure. Now I'm telling the federal government, this is a new procedure that says that, hey, that they're saying that the federal government is saying ain't true. You EEOC, you supposed to know this? Oh no, we ain't never heard of it. But they didn't say anything about it. Didn't say anything. We ain't never heard nothing about it. So I said, well, I went and I said, well, I told them, I said, well, the Homeland Security said they ain't never heard of this. Okay. But we still need it. They sending me now, they're not just saying this verbally. They putting it in emails. Electronic evidence. They putting it in emails. They talking about that. So, okay. Well, I'm not going to submit it. Well, I'm part of the Equifax data breach, so you telling me you can't find my documents. Now I got to do something about it. Got to do something about it. So what I did was, I said, okay, I can't submit to anything because I did that. It's coming up a year, and now you're telling me that, come on now. You say I've been on leave. I wasn't fired. If I was fired, I had to resubmit the documents. Get it now. If you're fired, you have to resubmit your documents. But if you're on leave, no, you don't. So that was telling me that I was fired. I was fired. They're trying to rehire me. So after going back and forth and they started reporting everything, I just said, you know what, this is not worth it. So I typed up a letter and I used a case of constructive termination, Green versus Brennan. And I ended up, I resigned. I said, okay. So that should have been the end of that. No. Start looking for another job. Looking for a job. I'm getting a second interview. Everything's going good. Then I start submitting my driver's license and my Social Security. I start getting letters or people telling me, we got to rescind the offer. We got to rescind the offer. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, okay. What's going on? Something is not right. So a friend of mine who told me about a job, she said, Samantha, I think this would be a good fit for you. I applied for it. Got it. I got the first interview. I got the second interview. I'm excited. Okay. I'm submitting my driver's license, Social Security card. I don't get a call. I don't get nothing. So I go to my friend. I say, you know what? I'm doing this. I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, help me out. She said, Samantha, she said, you need to get an immigration attorney. I'm a natural born citizen. Why would I want to do that? So I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe it's my marriage. But I said, no, I'm divorced. So I'm thinking, so I'm doing research. I found out that this company, True Blue and People Scout, reported me to Homeland Security saying that I did not have legal documents to work in the United States. Natural born citizen. Where am I gonna go? It could have went left field in so many areas. For 7 months, I had a hard time sleeping. Because, you playing with an agency that will quick to deport you. Where was they gonna deport me at? I can't sleep. I'm sending their lawyers. I'm sending them cease and desist letters. I'm sending them letters telling them, hey, look, y'all reported me. I'm writing Homeland Security. I can't get a job because once I file, I turn in my documents. I'm scared to apply for passports. I'm scared to do anything because right now I got a red flag on that. Whoa. So while I'm doing all of this, you would think at some point EEOC, because they knew now. They knew. I keep them abreast of it. You knew at some point that EEOC was gonna say, hey, you know what? You can't do this. We finna put an end to it. EEOC acted like they had no enforcement whatsoever on this. I think there's gonna be a part 2. I think it's gonna be a part 2. No enforcement. Here I am. I'm over 40. I'm a diabetic. I've been fired from a job. They retaliated against me. EEOC act like they can't do nothing. Now I'm being reported to Homeland Security. And I can't get a job nowhere else because of a red flag. Red flag. Ooh. My depression went from me not having depression to severe depression. Because I'm like, wow, they doing all of this in front of the federal government, the same government that's supposed to be designed to protect me. They doing all of this, and EEOC acting like, you know what? Well, it ain't nothing really we can do. We can't make them do this. We can't. And in one statement, I was told we can't make them do this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I cried, and I got scared, and I don't need no more gray hair in my head. I'm in litigation with them. I'm still in litigation, but I'm in litigation with them. So I went to a friend. He's an attorney. He said, hey Sam, you need to. My advice to you is to go and get your congressman involved, because it's a federal thing. State ain't gonna do nothing. It's a federal thing. So I went to my congressman with my birth certificate, my driver's license, my social security, my divorce decree. I took mail. I took formal driver's license that I've had over the years, showing how I transitioned from my maiden name to my married name. And I had to submit all of that. And they got in touch with Homeland Security, and they cleared my name. Whew. So you would think that would be over. So you ask, what did the EEOC in Nashville do? They didn't do nothing. That was all my fault. That was all my fault. Well, I didn't have substantial evidence. EEOC says that they and even the Supreme Court says that sometimes that harassment, it shows, but it doesn't, maybe you don't have evidence, but it shows. It shows. But the emails, the conversations, I even recorded True Blue telling me that they knew when the problem that was going against me started from day one, and did nothing. Yeah. So let's go into that. So I finally got myself together. I finally got everything intact. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. Let me go ahead and apply for a job. And I've been applying and everything. I get this job because now I'm looking at, based on my medical history and everything, I said, you know what, I was working from home. I need to stay back at home because I have medical problems that apparently, that I can't go into a job and actually finish doing. It's limited for me. At this time, my doctor's putting me on all this kind of medication, and now I'm having reactions. I'm having breakouts. Not blisters and fever. I'm having breakouts, whelps. It looked like I've been in a fight. Sometimes it's all on my neck. Sometimes it's on my back. It's itching. I'm trying calamine lotion. I'm trying all this stuff. Alcohol. I'm trying to dry it up. I had alcohol in a spray bottle, and I'm itching. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's hard going to work and smiling when you sitting up here going through something in your body. Can't eat nothing because, if anybody on metformin, you already know where it leads to. You already know what it does. Come on. It's something that don't play. It's something that don't play with you. Don't play with you. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing all of this. I'm doing all of that. Can't eat. If I eat, I got to be careful. I got to, I'm just going through a ball of mess. So when I started the job, I got the job. It was supposed to be a hybrid job. I applied for it. I got it. My reference got me in, everything. Reference got me in. So I applied for this job, found out when I went there that I'm not training to go back home. I'm training to stay. I can't do that. If I had known that, I wouldn't apply for the job. So this is with the state of Tennessee. So I ended up, I said, I got to ask for ADA accommodations. I went to my manager. I said, look, I got to ask for ADA accommodations. Oh, we family, you good. No, oh, no, finding out, do you know you work for the state of Tennessee a whole month and then you don't get paid? You have to wait a whole month before you get paid. What kind of mess is that? And then they don't pay you nothing. Entry level really don't pay you nothing. They don't pay you nothing. I ain't gonna say really, they don't. But the benefits are there. So going through all of this, I'm training. I'm from old school. I don't believe in dressing. I believe in dressing semi-professional. Slacks, shoes, closed-toe shoes. Accidents happen. I don't wear sandals. I don't wear my back out. I have a tattoo. I have 2 tattoos. And I don't wear my back out. Certain things people should know about you working at a job. They should know if you got tattoos all up here and stuff like that, you need to either blend that in or whatever, because that's, if you're trying to get a professional job, they don't go for the tattoos all up here. They don't go for the tattoos on the hand. They don't go for that. So when you're thinking about getting a tattoo, you need to really think about where you want to go. If you working in fast food and you know that that's not going to be your life all your life, unless you're going into some kind of tattoo artist or you going to be professional, don't do that. So I don't wear my tattoos out. I dressed, when it was Friday, I wore jeans, but I wore a nice blouse and I wore some nice shoes. I just didn't come to work any kind of way, because I work in social services and I want people to see that I am professional. Okay? So that's how it is. So once again, I'm praised for my work. In fact, within the 2 months, I had been asked to be nominated as Employee of the Month. I went in there. I saw a problem. The front desk was chaotic. I have streamlined it. Now, this is not my job, but I went and did it. I did all of that, and I'm steady asking for ADA. But how that came about was that I was going to the bathroom a lot, and my manager noticed it. And I wrote the commissioner and said, hey, I'm an ADA accommodate. I'm trying to seek accommodation. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I told him everything was going on. Hey, I feel like I'm finna get fired. So they told me no. I told them, about my rash and all of that. No, you ain't gonna get fired. You good. So that Monday I went to work. I said, you know what? I need to tell my manager what's going on. At least, I felt like I could talk to her. So I showed her pictures. I told her, I said, look, I'm having this allergic reaction from, I don't know what it is, my medication or whatever. But I said, I'm getting ready to go to a dermatologist, go to my doctor so he can send me to a dermatologist so I can find out what's going on. Oh, no problem. We sisters in Christ and all of that. We sisters. Ooh, we sisters in Christ. She went, came back. Samantha, you got to go home. You contagious. Contagious? Yeah, you contagious. Jessica getting ready to have a baby, and we don't want you here because you contagious. You might give us something. Well, I'm going to give you diabetes? I said, okay, well, I said, do you want me to leave at the end of the day or leave now? You need to leave right now. Don't touch nothing when you leave. Just leave. When can I come back? Well, when your doctor clear you when he do all the testing, he find out, you just go. So, okay. I left. Got in the car, called the commissioner, State of Tennessee Commissioner, Department of Human Services. And I said, you know what? I talked to them. I said, I just want to let you know, I just got sent home. I said, for my medical condition, the allergic reaction, I said, I'm at my doctor's office. I'm making an appointment. And I wanted to let you know that, you know, I'm banned from the building. They hurry up and call me back. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't have no problem. We can get to the bottom of it. Went to tell my doctor. I said, you know that rash that I've been telling you about and everything that I've been having, and I showed him the pictures and stuff. I said, well, I get sent home for that. He said, oh, okay. He said, well, let me look at them again. And he said, let me go ahead. But he said, but you don't have anything. You ain't got cold. You ain't coughing. You ain't got blisters. You ain't got a fever. No. So I took them days and I enjoyed myself. Went to my doctor. He cleared me. He said, that's an allergic rash. He said, let me set you up with a dermatologist. Okay. Showed her the letter. Went to the letter. Came back. I'm okay. I said, you know what? I told the state. I said, I didn't sign up to go through all this. I said, if I can't get accommodations in this department, I'm going to either apply for another job with the state, or I'm going to go and apply for another job in a sector, private sector. I said, because I got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do. Now, this is where it gets interesting at. While I'm working there, I'm seeing some things that really violate other clients. State of Tennessee coming up with a new system. People who have filed for food SNAP benefits getting denied. Veterans getting denied. People getting out of jail, they got to wait. They hiring people and not training them and not telling them how to protect other people's rights. So I'm seeing a whole bunch of violations going on. I don't want to be a part of that. You know, veterans have priority over regular citizens and stuff. I don't want to be a part of that. Caseworkers telling you to lie to customers, and then you may have to see these customers on the street. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not finna be a part of that. So I said, you know what? Let me go and find me another job. Got another job within the state. Paid more responsibilities. I'm okay. State Key Marcus told me, well, you know, and Human Resource told me, you know, well, if you apply for another job, you haven't been there a year, you got to go get permission from your supervisor or something in order for us to do this. You just can't get up and leave and go to another, you know, because you're on the probation. You're probation. I said, okay, cool. So I said, well, going to lunch. I went to my supervisor. I said, hey, can I talk to you? Yeah. I said, hey, you know, I need a letter of recommendation for a job. I didn't tell her where. I just said for a job. She said, come on, let's walk, because she was going to lunch too. We're going to lunch. We're going down the back stairs. And you know, when you go down them hollow stairs, you know, people can hear your conversation and stuff. They can even hear your shoes when you're trying not to walk. You don't want to sound like clank, clank, clank. So, you know, you walk on your tiptoes till you get out there. So I talk with my hands. I do. It's a habit. I know I need to stop, but I do. So we get out there. She said, Samantha, why you want to leave? She said, you know, why you want to leave? You know, I'm one of her good employees. I come to work on time. You know, I learn, I document, I tell her what's going on. I told him, I said, I may not know what color socks I'm gonna wear. I may wear different socks. I said, but documentation, I am good at. I said, because I don't like being in confusion. I want to make sure that if anything happened, people can go and look at and see what I did, especially if I'm finna be held accountable. So I told her I didn't sign up for this. There's a lot of things going on. It's bad enough I got to make up for my mistakes. Now I got to make up for somebody else's. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up. So I left work, came back, went, sat at my desk. They asked me to come in here. Now, all of a sudden, it changed. I became the lady that asked for ADA accommodation to somebody that threatened and yelled at my supervisor. Altercation. Verbal assault. That's something deep. So they let me stay there that Friday. That Monday morning, around about 1 o'clock. Keep in mind now, I yelled at her in front of a food stamp office. Come on now. Black folks, you know, anybody can tell you. If that had happened, security would have been out there. They would have called the police. They would have banned me from the building, all of that. But they didn't do that. So I ended up that Monday before Labor Day, I got fired. They let me work till lunch. That's what even made it worse. They let me go to lunch. And I did all of this. And I went to lunch. And I was getting ready to go to lunch. And I got fired. I didn't even argue. I said, well, you know what? I said, am I fired? She said, yeah. I just got the paper. I got up. I went, got a box. Started putting my stuff in it. I put my stuff. And they walked me out and I went home. Now, this is where EEOC says that it's different. The EEOC says that they was in compliance. It has nothing to do. My ADA accommodations and all of that had nothing to do with the incident that happened on the 25th. I said it didn't happen. It wasn't nothing. And then the investigator that's trying to explain it to me, talking about, I'm trying to explain it to you. Well, I'm taking it in sections. Okay, well, if you're gonna take it in sections, then start with the fact that I was lied to get the job when I got the job, and then all of that. No, EEOC don't cover that, none of that. Well, take it when I asked for ADA accommodations, and look how long they said that my doctor didn't supply anything, or the fact that my doctor showed me proof that he did. Oh, that's irrelevant, Miss Rajapaksa. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Well, let's take another thing. Let's take that. Before that day, I was a employee of the month. Now all of a sudden I'm accused of verbally assaulting a lady in a public area. Now, I was able to get unemployment because the state didn't have no witnesses. The state of Tennessee said that I got fired for no fault of my own. But EEOC says, well, no, we just can't stop there. We got to investigate everything. No, just because they admitted that they fired you at no fault of their own, don't mean that they violated you. Don't mean that. No. I said, well, they said that you was yelling. I said, well, okay. They said they heard you all the way down at the picnic table. That was 300 feet. I said, well, how could they hear me? They said you were moving your hands while I talk with my hands. I said, well, what did they say? Well, they said that you said this. Well, I didn't lie. I did tell her that. But who's to say that she didn't tell them what I said? Well, nobody there but me and her, and then this other lady showed up. I said, well, they said you were loud and all that. Come on now. I was so loud, and I'm yelling and screaming at my supervisor so loud that I was able to go back in the building, go to lunch, go back in the building, sit down, work the whole day, come back, work a half a day before I got fired. Explain it. Explain it. Come on now. Makes sense. Help me make sense. Well, they came up with two different people. Oh, like people don't lie. And then one of the girls, the ladies that gave a testimony. Now, keep in mind now, he says it was 300 feet. It was 300 feet from where this lady says I am. She says I'm yelling. She says it's a whole bunch of people around. But she says she only heard bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. Come on now. If somebody really yelling and loud, you gonna hear every word, and they yelling to where you can hear them. You gonna hear every word. Then you gotta look at it like this. You're gonna take it like this, and then you're gonna say, okay, well, if these people provide documentation to you, EEOC, how come they didn't prove it to the state? I would have did it. If you gonna lie, it's okay to lie to EEOC. EEOC is not is a federal agency, but they wasn't gonna lie to the state to that's gonna jeopardize their job. Come on. So I did something a little bit different. I sure did. I said, okay. I said, you know what? I see where this is going. So I just got one question. Who do I report here? Oh, you can report it to the OIG. That's the Office of Inspector General. But you can't do it until after I submit my report to the investigation. You can't do that. You gotta wait. I'm sitting up here thinking, yeah, he want me to wait, all right. He want me to wait so that it'll look like I'm a dissatisfied person that's gonna go ahead and challenge him after he had made that I'm mad, I'm a disgruntled. I said, okay, all right. Well, it'll be back next week, okay, all right. I said, Mr. So-and-so, I ain't even gonna get upset about this. You go ahead and do whatever you gonna do. I just wait on it. I went home. I take that back. I went to the post office and I got a whole bunch of certifications. I got a whole bunch of them green things, and I came home and I typed up a letter to the Office of Attorney General. Her name is Joyce T. Willoughby. She in March, she's an active duty. On March, she gonna be an official, and I CC'd that letter and I tell her everything that I'm telling y'all, and I made sure that I CC'd that letter to the commissioner, the attorney general for the EEOC, the commissioners that's in the council, office of council, and I made sure I sent each and every one of them a certified letter. I didn't want it to go to one. I made sure it went to all 8 of them. Cost me $79. And then to make sure that he didn't think that I was doing something behind his back, I uploaded that letter that I wrote to the EEOC and all them certifications, and I turned around and put it in that portal. I sure did. I said, now you can go ahead and write. Go ahead and write whatever you want to write. I'm waiting now. Now I'm waiting. That morning, I'm going by my bed. I get a letter from her. No call. This woman talking about she from Washington. No, she wasn't. She wasn't from Washington. She was from the Nashville office. She turns around and says, well, you know, your case is still active. He's still investigating. Well, he continue to do that. I said, but I just find that kind of strange that he's accusing me of doing something, saying that I would have still had my job had I not asked her for a letter of recommendation or yelled at her or whatever that they want to say. And I said, it's just that it makes no sense. But, you know, but to y'all, it makes sense. But you trying to explain it to me how I was at fault for that. I don't have a case. So I said, okay, well, you know, well, then he shouldn't be mad that, he shouldn't be really mad that, hey, that I sent that letter. Back up what he say. Back up what he say. I said the state of Tennessee even said that the woman that sent me home used poor judgment, but he said that no, you know what he told me? He said, no, he said, if I was them, they did right, I would have sent you home. I would have just asked for a follow-up. Well, then you violated my rights. You in that office violating my rights. And that's what I wrote in there. So my thing is that I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know. I know that in Eastern District in Virginia, they are suing. They are suing on behalf of people who have disabilities, who've been discriminated against, age and discrimination, disability. So my thing is that, you know, don't give up. Write the commissioner, CC it. It may take a little bit of time. It may do that. But my thing is that You stand firm on what you believe. You stand firm on it. I'm over 50. And it's, you know what, it's you know, things that I never thought, you know, I don't look, if I were to dye my hair, I wouldn't look my age. But I shouldn't have to dye my hair to work. Okay, if I'm a productive person and I you know, I'm limited, then I shouldn't have to sit here and because, okay, you can't accommodate me for ADA, then I supposed to just, I want a job and I need a job, but I don't need a job to the point where it kills me or it puts me in a situation where I have a stroke and then my children take care of me, or I'm in a position where it could have been prevented. A job you can get. A job you can get. Stress and death, you don't need. And these employees, especially these young people, feel like, you know what, that because you old, that gives them the right to say stuff like that. But they need to look and realize that one day that, you know what, they ought to be thanking God that they can reach our age. Because some of them are dying younger than that. I've seen more young folks die of a heart attack or stroke than anybody else. Anybody else. And it's sad that a federal agency that's designed to protect people are sitting here telling people they have no case. I even read the reviews. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that experienced stuff like this. Because of the age. Because it's more people becoming diabetics every day. Especially due to this food. Lack of exercise. I'm not a big person. I just got on a big shirt. But I need to take care of myself. Yep, I got my A1C down, but I'm having side effects. But you have to ask that question. If they did this to me, if they did it to me, and I'm going to tell you something, I got proof, documentation all over the place. If they doing it to me, how many others are they doing? I would like for my story to be shared. I don't have a lot of YouTube followers. I'm hoping that my story be shared because, like I said, the Nashville I asked the Office of Inspector General to investigate my charge. I'm hoping that they will go and investigate the whole building. Because everybody, you know, I could tell you, you know, I don't feel old. In my face, I see it, but I don't really see it because that's me looking at me. But when somebody start treating you bad because your age, or because you're diabetic, or because you know, for whatever illness that you have, that's a depressing situation, especially when you're still trying to be independent. You're still trying to have mobility. You're still trying to have confidence. You're still trying to have dignity. And somebody shut you down because of your age, because of your disability, to make you feel like you're not worth nothing. I'm glad I shared my story with you guys. I really do. I'm glad I have. And I hope this video help somebody else.